ready for that too sweet play-in. And welcome back, all you four-color funny book aficionados. This is US Comics Cast, HQ for all things comic book related. We are Jon and Charle Rivera, co-founders of US Comics and the tag team champions of all elite useless knowledge. Charle, happy comic book day, pal.
Happy comic book day to you, sir, and happy comic book day to all of you. Before we really get rolling, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe from wherever you're watching these beautiful, sexy, wildly different bodies from. You want us big, you want us small, you got us both. Hit that like button. Johnny boy!
Oh, sorry, I was making out with myself. What's up, kid?
Dude, I gotta tell you, my nerd cup runneth over. We're over a week removed from San Diego Comic-Con, and I just cannot stop thinking about all the stuff we saw. I think the sleeper hit
remotely. Let's not get crazy. We don't want to cast, make any misconceptions out there.
Fair enough. For me, I don't know about you, I could not get enough of the Anne Rice Interview the Vampire trailer. I didn't know it was coming. I totally forgot AMC was doing it. And just perfect. It was just picture perfect, man. What did you think about it?
Well, so for me, and
you were
Rice,
just like, I like guy on guy vampire action.
Yeah, who doesn't? Who doesn't? I mean, Anne Rice was the queen of basically the macabre. She was the queen of NOLA, but she was also the queen of like gender specific writing. Like if you took away certain masculine or feminine character names, you had no fucking idea, because like to a vampire, hey man, if you live long enough, whatever's whatever. The party's going on, the drinks are flowing, whatever's gonna happen. My coffin is big enough for two, baby.
I gotta tell you, if Armand wasn't named Armand, I'm like, who's this sexy bitch? Let's go. Even after they cast Antonio Banderas, I was like, let's talk about this.
The fact that like Armand in the books, I almost said comics, Armand is like basically a child in the book. So a little problematic. I'm gonna go ahead and cancel Charle outright.
Tell me that Armand isn't a slut, and I will leave the podcast right now.
They're all sluts, dude. They're slutty hemophiliacs is basically what it comes down to. But yeah, for me, like Anne Rice was one of those writers that I kind of discovered in my adolescence, and I was like, oh me, oh my, oh, look over both shoulders. Am I allowed to be reading this shit? And our mom was as absentee parenting as she with the library card as she was with like just take the keys, go drive up the block. Yeah, so I discovered Anne Rice in those like formative years. So the interview cast and those Lestat books went on and on and on. They were sexy as fuck. So I was super excited for this series, knowing long form storytelling works so well for novels specifically, and this is one of those shows. Much like the first season of Game of Thrones, where you have a season of TV which is cover to cover a book. I think it works best. Yeah. But what about you? I know you kind of joined the Anne Rice bandwagon a little bit later. But what about you when you saw the finished product?
I mean, the Interview with the Vampire is just such a for me, it was like the first masterclass in very specific film. Like, Interview with the Vampire was the first...
Sexy time vampires.
But also, it, like, presents itself totally serious. It's a total movie. It's a total film-style movie. So, for me, it was like, oh, shit, you can take this subject matter and be stone-cold serious. And what was dope about when I saw Interview with the Vampire, and then to a lesser extent, all of its sequels, we were kind of in... The 2000s was a very, like, vampire... heavy, like, cinema time.
I mean,
because then they were like, here's Blade, here's Dracula 2000, here's Judas. You didn't see that shit coming.
Nobody did. That was like literally the best part of that movie happened like right before the credits rolled. Like, whip. I guess that was money well spent.
I thought the best part of that movie was seeing the singer Vitamin C's boobies, because I was still pretty young and I was like,
Yeah, that
yay!
was another like look at him like,
Boobs!
are those vitamin C's D's? Like what the hell? What am I seeing right now? Well, so
That
we
would have been the
cannot.
SNL joke back in 2000 when that movie came out.
Lauren, I'm here, Lauren. I'm not just here for DC and Marvel, brother. I'm available to you too. So yeah, obviously, I think we're both clearly hyped for the new interview,
And I
the
like that he's
series
black.
as opposed to the movie.
It makes
the
people
movie.
mad, and I'm here for it.
Does it though? Like,
I mean,
there are so many
liars on Twitter.
dumb people out there that we tend to like project. Like, oh, I bet people. It's New Orleans. It was like the original melting pot, and it was vanilla and chocolate being melted together. Like, come on, dude. No, I'm super duper excited. Again, the vampires, much like vampires, they're back, baby. So the new season of What We Do in the Shadows is like Taika proof. Taika's like, oh, you don't like Thor? Tough shit. Look what my vampires are doing. I mean, just a laugh a minute. Are you enjoying this new season thus far?
I was not expecting anything with the kid to be so funny, or the child.
Oh, Colin.
Heaven
Colin.
forbid you call him Colin.
Squirt. I'll call him
But-
whatever the fuck I want. All right.
Fair enough. I'll call him. Oh shit! I thought it was a raccoon. But also on top of it, they're like, Nadia has a nightclub. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Just everything.
Just when you thought the perfect woman could not get any more perfecter. Like, I get this guy that keeps on like coming back into her life in spite of how many times he dies. I'm like, yeah, you could decapitate me all you want. I'll just take a shot. Just a little Nadia sniff at the hem.
You can decapitate me. The
Every
John
time.
Rivera
It's on.
story.
Yeah.
But it's great timing because Marvel's about to drop Blade. So it's like we're getting literally the what's that bullshit ice cream that no one likes the strawberry of? Neapolitan, where it's like we're getting stone cold, sexy but serious Anne Rice. We're getting over the top Blade, Daywalker, and we got What We Do in the Shadows. I don't even know what varieties left, but I'm here for it.
But there are legitimately so many types of vampires still literally floating around out there. And you know what? I am glad that you mentioned. Yeah, we're gonna get Blade. We're just a couple of human podcasters. Toothpick, where's that toothpick? Because Marvel, and look, I realize that it's not the House of Marvel. It's not Marvel technically, but like, fuck, your flag is flying over that mess. They've got a Morbius size mistake to make up for, so they had better, and I think they will, just bring the absolute ruckus with Blade.
I mean, how great would it be though if it was Morbin time and Blade just decapitates him?
Like somebody just gets on and like, oh, it's Morbin, and just head comes flying off, and all of a sudden you find yourself in that same original Wesley Snipes like shower. I'm like, at that time, that first original Blade came out, I was like, yo, they have parties and fucking like meat packing showers. This is another hot as fuck. I'm like, who wrote this? Anne Rice? I am at full chub right now. If you want to throw it back though, we've got a new Lost Boys coming. What?
The fuck out of here.
Huh? What? New Lost Boys? Come on, dude. All I can say is this. If there is not a shirtless, could definitely have been a professional wrestler back in the day, fucking saxophone blaring in the night, I'm going to get up, I'm going to walk out, I'm going to get my money back, because it is unacceptable to have, look, no Kiefer, fine. No fucking what's his face who thinks he's Michael Jackson, fine, that's fine. If there is no saxophone, shirtless, muscle-bound dude blaring in the night, I am not even interested. I have a feeling there probably will be, at least a little wink and a nod to it. So I don't expect to get my money back, but there are so many, dude. There are so many.
I just fully expect you in the theater. We're approaching the finale. You don't see jacked up saxophone player throwing down your empty bag of popcorn.
I'm just checking my watch.
What if it's Ron Burgundy just on roids?
That's fine.
Just instead of the flout.
He could
he
be
busts out.
He could be all muscle suited up. It's fine with me. SNL, I know for a fact, owns a particularly good. Lauren, how many times I gotta tell you, bro? Come
this
on,
is just
come at me.
the
I
very
know they
special
have a good
SNL
one.
episode. Is there a vampire property though that now all of these are popping up? You're like, more. I want this shit.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's fucking coming. Have you seen any of the advance info for Renfield?
No. Now, total disclosure, that no was very over the top.
It was
you
a little.
mentioned it in the show prep.
Charles
You mentioned
like, what? Oh me, oh my! What could that possibly be? Tell me more. You just infomercialed these poor people. You're like, what?
If you
Surely
believe
you
sucking
can't be
blood is
serious.
fun. When you mentioned it in our pre-show kind of text back and forth, I was fully, I went from 6 to midnight and I asked no follow-up questions because normally I'd be like, tell me all about it and ruin content for the show. What's going on with fucking Renfield, bro?
So you have a Nicolas Cage Dracula. And Renfield, for anyone
I did see something about this.
Anyone who is not up to date on their specifically Dracula lore, Renfield is that fucking creeper that just hangs around. He's like, he can't drink blood per se, but he could definitely eat some flies off of the floor. Just be like a total fucking. Basically, he's like Dracula is to Renfield as John is to Charlie. Just like Charlie just scuttling around, what can I do for you, master? With like a very vaguely European, unidentifiable accent.
That. I don't.
I
thought you were going to say Rocky and Paulie,
Renfield
and I got
didn't
real
like
excited.
It either. No. Paulie would basically be like Joe Cool compared to Renfield. Renfield. Igor looks down on Renfield. Like, you're just a little bitch, huh? And I'm not sure why Igor sounds like that, but I imagine there's got to be like a south of the border in Transylvania.
That was Mexican Igor? I thought that was French Igor. That accent was terrible.
But yes, hey, people traveled around. You watched Indiana Jones, just the red line going across the map. All of a sudden, you're in a different culture, bro.
Fair
Assimilate,
enough.
Charlie.
We're gonna go with what the fuck was the I don't know why I started saying this. I can't remember the name of the movie or
Charlie.
the actor. I'm just gonna bail, and I'm gonna hope that
emergency.
I'm gonna hope the fact that this is a pre-record means people will take pity on us. Now, I do have to give my delicious brother a little bit of work, just like if we were vampires. I'd make him bring me rats when I was in my emo phase of being a vampire. Make sure you guys are chatting us up on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Twitch, because John is moderating, so he'll get to hear himself, see himself, two of his favorite
the live
things.
version of me, not this delectable live to tape version. We are indeed pre-recording, which Charlie we would have gotten to, but just like traffic, Charlie just cutting motherfuckers off. Charlie, if he conversationally, Charlie needs the same ecto fun rig that he has on his Ghostbusters whip, because he's like, whoop, 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 I'm coming, you just get out the way. Yes, we are live to tape, and but I will indeed be in attendance. Charlie will not, because I don't want to put people's business out in the world, but guys, he legitimately said, fuck those people, I got better shit to do. I'm like, God damn, Charlie. I hope that they never hear about this conversation. Wink, wink. For anybody who's not watching. Winking at the camera. See what I'm doing?
All I know is that if Ellis doesn't put together some sort of vampire art for us, just for free 99 to throw in the comment section, I'm going to be furious.
Ellis might be in full costume. At this point, he's like, what? Vampire? Just slicking the hair back. And like official, true Bela Lugosi style fucking Dracula, like metal. Like what war were you in that you were dished out that metal Dracula? You're wearing a lot of bling for someone who's supposed to be allegedly keeping a low profile, my dude. Whatever.
I just assumed those were all people he drank the blood of. He was like, I'm not going to let these medals go to waste.
I mean, look, I am one who never turns down a nice accessory, especially if it's matchy. But I mean, at this point, he was like the Transylvanian Mr. T. He just had more jewelry on that you can't sleep with that much jewelry, and he went right to bed. The second the sun came up, he was in bed.
Well, I can't blame him for that. That's just good planning.
He's just a sleepy boy. He can't help it.
I do think one of the things I'm most excited for regarding all these vampire shenanigans is a few years ago when our boy Tom Cruise kind of took over production on The Mummy, and then shit just went south. Not Tom's fault. Tom's clearly a genius. He wanted to probably fly a mummy like through a boat or something.
You don't get handed $100 million if you're not a genius, right, Tom?
Exactly right. Tom, give us a call. We are for sale.
Yeah.
What
See that, Lauren? You took too long.
What I think is kind of cool is this could lead to the full like monster renaissance. And the truth is, we keep
been hearing that shit a lot, man.
That's true, but 27 vampire projects are gonna lead us to a weird fish man at some point.
Buffy, Dracula, fucking obviously Morbius was just fucking terrible. The bottom line is this, Charlie.
It's Morbid time!
As I check the clock, especially now, it's granted it's like 97.5 degrees out on the daily now. But fall is around the corner. Before we know it, we're gonna be buying Halloween candy and not answering the door when they come the little ghouls come knocking because we ate all the fucking good shit already. But the truth of the matter is, every once in a while, you're gonna get a at your door, and you're gonna look out, and you're gonna think, that's a vampire-looking motherfucker. And they'll be like, hey, my man, Transylvania Mexican, I am not a vampire at all. And the truth of the matter is that vampire, just like George Toy Boy Lucas, is a goddamn vampire liar. You bloodsucking son of a bitch. Because Han shot first. Clink, clink. Charlie, you notch. Aw, Charlie, you cannot cheers after you drink. Party foul.
I'm all thrown off. I don't know
Charlie
what's going on.
is used to drinking shots of human blood. Look, I like what we do in the shadows too, but there's a limit, bro.
John just rocking a maroon shirt to disguise his fucking type A negative.
No, that's valid. That's valid.
Just sucking it down like deliciousness. What else?
Anywho.
What else piqued your interest?
Well, you know what? You actually... Let me laugh right here.
I did something good?
No, not that good. But not bad. Also not bad, so that's pretty good. No, you did raise an interesting point, and I was as shocked as anybody. Yeah, like we're clearly re-entering this age of vampires, which, look, they're like cicadas. They take a little nap, they pop up again, wearing the same shit, but somehow always in fashion.
It was the age of vampires. Age of vampires.
I like the way you hit them syllables, just making that shit fit. That's some Lin-Manuel Miranda shit. But yeah,
we're also for sale, Lin.
Also, as well as vampires, we seem to be re-entering an age of high fucking fantasy.
Oh shit.
Oh baby, it is. I had to honestly check myself because as a fan,
you were afraid you were gonna wreck yourself.
I mean, occasionally it does happen, and I'm always the last one to know. But in all sincerity, I thought that I was like my wishful thinking had kind of like manifested into like projects that were like years and years away. But I realized, no, Father Mucker, all of these shits are literally like dropping right around each other like proverbial clutches of vampire eggs. They
lay eggs?
Yeah, no, you didn't know that? Come on, dude.
I'm gonna have nightmares tonight.
Grow up. Didn't you watch the terrible fucking that terrible Van Helsing movie? What a piece of shit.
No, I don't need my Wolverine in hats. That's where I draw my Wolverine line.
Not even an underworld degree could help our leather-clad goddess get me keep me interested in that crappy movie. But no, look, we moved on. We're in the high fantasy age, and for me, it absolutely begins and ends, regardless of Charlie's graphic here, who we'll definitely get to. But for me, the high watermark is gotta be the unfinished work wonder of George R. Martin. And we are getting on HB to the Izzo, we are getting the adaptation of Fire and Blood, aka the Targaryen story. The House of the Dragon is what the folks at HBO is calling. And,
I'm ready to be hurt again.
Ooh, and let me tell you, Charlie, if you have purple eyes and very whitish blonde hair, you're gonna be hurt. Because this is some heavy duty, sexy time, Targaryen on Targaryen, sweaty ass action. And they're sweaty because of all the dragons. Do you remember? Cast your mind back, Charlie. Cast your mind back to a time, a simpler time, when you saw 3 little baby dragons crawl around a naked bitch and you're like, God damn, is this a good show? That was just 3 dragons and 1 naked lady. Can you imagine a world?
More naked ladies?
Not so much more naked ladies, because they've already said they're going to dial that back, but I'm not going to hold them against it. Hold it against them.
I bet you're not.
Well, I mean...
John just got canceled.
If there were more, that would be a different story. Charlie, 3 dragons is fucking laughable. Because in House of the Dragon, which sounds to me like the newest Bruce Lee book, I'm like, oh, great, George R. Martin, he's stretching his wings a little bit. No, it's the Targaryen textbook. It takes you from the Conqueror, the OG motherfucker. You know how bad of a dude you have to be for an entire age to be named after after what you did on a random fucking Tuesday? Holy shit, there was everything that happened before the conquest, and there was what came after the conquest. So, this is literally from the conquest, from when the Targaryens unified the 7 kingdoms. Kind of, sort of, Dorne, we're looking at you. Oh, those Dornish motherfuckers know what's up. But Charlie, I'm going to throw it right to you, dude.
Yes, please.
Sincerely,
yeah.
How did... I know the news was somewhat going to be jaded because it was me telling you about it, and I'm half fucking chubbed up just thinking about it. But that first trailer, which we shared, by the way, it's a new thing we're doing over at the USComics Facebook page. We shared the trailer there. So, Charlie, what did you think that first trailer that you saw, man?
So, again, it's very important to know that one of the very few roads you and I do not go down together hand in hand is fantasy. So, for me, even Game of Thrones, you were like, holy shit, Game of Thrones is going to be so fucking good. The books are so good. You should read the books. I was like, I'll listen to those audio tapes. Maybe. But I loved Game of Thrones.
Can't read so good.
Game of Thrones, to me, was like, it was the equivalent of like Conan. Where I'm like, this is in that realm I could give a fuck about, but this kicks ass.
Yeah.
So when I heard
like
they were going to
Howard
do
level shit, that was a good. That's a good pull.
Thank you. I'll take compliments all day.
Yeah, no, look.
The problem is, again, it's not breaking fucking news that someone didn't love how Game of Thrones ended. Yeah. But that shit hurt. I felt like an asshole watching that last season when I got to that end. So when they were like, more Game of Thrones, I was like, go fuck yourself, HBO. Right. That trailer was the equivalent.
Charlie holds a grudge like it has 2 fucking handles and crazy glue all over that.
Here's the gross secret about me. I am for sale. So it was like HBO pulled up with a delicious hot and crispy Sicilian pie from Joe's.
That's all it takes.
A 6er of my favorite IPA and enough garlic knots to drown me in. And I was like, let's do this.
Now, let me ask you this. Had it been a round pie from Gerardo's?
Yeah.
Like, you would have been sold even faster.
I think so.
If you're going to get a free pie, you got to know what you're doing, dude. All right, so let me ask you this. And you've already established, you're like, okay, Charlie is not a card-carrying fucking mage elf twice removed with a sage power. So really more specifically than when Lord of the Rings, who you have been like Kevin Smith-ish level of like, there's only one returns and it's of the Jedi. So like, what level of excitement were you at pre the trailer and post the trailer?
On a scale of 1 to 10,
If that's
I
what
went
works,
from an
sure.
excitement level of fucking goose egg. I could give a fuck about Lord of the Rings. After that trailer, it brought me all the way to a 6, which is pretty fucking good.
That's not bad.
Because I saw that trailer
For you,
buried
that's not bad
in
at
a
all.
whole fucking sea of trailers
Yeah.
that we talked about last week. But there's something about a good trailer. You put the fucking right music with the right visuals, and I'm like, let's see some fucking elves get fucking into scraps and
Just
shit.
like an old school stripper, like just show you enough to get you all titillated,
Yes.
but like not so much that you gotta go get a ring and fucking make an honest
You know what?
woman out of it.
To take that strip club ideology and run with it.
Always.
I see the smoke go off like the. Like it's one of those nice clubs, and I hear bum bum bum, and I'm like, oh shit! Just because it's built into my DNA. There was
So I was
something
like,
about
oh, it's gonna be a good night at the strip club. Big Bertha's here, kid.
as
Just
much
getting his money out.
as much as I talk shit about sword and sorcery. Hearing two swords clash together when you know they're heavy swords, it's just fucking exciting. And I told you this off show. I am so desperate to give a fuck about Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings and Doctor Who are two things that every time a new one comes out, I sit with my popcorn, and it's not a cross-armed entertain me. It's please, please grab a hold of my chubby little body and say, let's get you a scarf, fuckface. We're going for it. So I think more so than any of the Hobbit films, more so than the Lord of the Rings films, which I'm not saying are bad, I'm saying they're not for fucking me. This is the most excited I've been for a Lord of the Rings thing.
You know, and I very much I love the Tolkien books, all of them, even the really really weird ones. I did not mind how they stretched out the Hobbit. I think they didn't really need to have characters inserted like Legolas. Like, take a break, bro. Like,
I'm Legolas.
You're 900 years old, man. Why don't you sit the next couple of plays out? Save the cartilage in your knees, dude.
He showed back up and didn't go surfing on a shield, and I was like, this can't be canon.
Yeah, no, like it's doubtful that my man was like sitting there smoking his pipe, like, hey, you know what would be a good idea?
You want to talk about a fart in church? You and me watching Two Towers when that fucking guy started surfing. Oh, we couldn't give a shit.
Look, it's the long blonde hair. It's like surfing is gonna come up eventually. But you know what it is? What's interesting for me, specifically to Lord of the Rings, and then within the realm of fantasy, in general, is that the Lord of the Rings series, which is it's Rings of Power specifically. So this is like prequel to what Peter Jackson gave us with those movies. Which even if you're not into fantasy, even if you're like, I don't have 42 hours over the course of 6 movies to give to you, that's entirely fine. But it's very difficult for somebody to say, no, that's not a beautiful looking movie. That movie doesn't sound very specific to what it is. That movie doesn't want to make me smoke a 4-foot long fucking pipe and yell at somebody with hairy feet. If you say that, we can take it back to that shot so Charlie could take it with me. You're a liar, because Lord of the Rings in general has a feel. And what I thought prior to the series kind of showing us anything, when it was just a whisper in the wind, and it's coming from Amazon of all places, not the
Which
Amazon. But like, yeah, they have great fucking content out.
I have
even
so
from
much
day
faith
one, like,
in Amazon
Man in High
Studios.
Castle was like a very very groundbreaking type thing that they were doing. I don't think people were ready for it, if we're speaking honestly.
Agreed.
Which we rarely do in this podcast. But my
We're not even brothers.
my concern was that, like, as wonderful as the Pete Jackson shit was, this was going to look and feel like a different world, and it doesn't. It does not. They almost did like a Harry Potter thing where different creators came in and they're just like making a game out of the same pile of toys, which is just great. They added certain elements to it. We're going to get new non-sexy female ogres and stuff like that. looking at you World of Warcraft movie because I'm like, I shouldn't want to do those terrible things to her that I do. I don't care
Disagree.
about those teeth.
I would sign you up on Tinder and like
Yeah,
options. Like
that
ladies,
would be the blind
fellas,
date Charlie says me.
ogres.
Like, okay, she's green, that's fine. Her teeth look like you could just open up a beer in her mouth, which I'm
gotta be
talking
honest,
myself.
This
into
sounds
it.
like your dream, woman.
But yeah, the series, the Rings of Power series, we've got black fucking hobbits, and it's great. It's just great. It's somehow more than the movies were, while being like the same. And we talk about it here, and we've heard people talk about it recently, agreeing with us, which is frankly, hey, you used our new sticker design. I just caught that. It's more while still being the same, and we're gonna get the long form version of it. So I'm like super fucking duper excited. But I'll let you run with the illustration that you pulled, man. When you saw our boy Chris Pine, and he was just fucking rolling that 12-sided dice proverbially for the Dungeons and Dragons flick, and this is not 1982. How are you feeling, little man?
I was immediately like, oh shit, Marlon Wayans making a comeback. And he's nowhere in the fucking trailer. Very disappointing. Neither is Jimmy Olsen from Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman. They could have at least been like bodies, you fucking jerks. No, this is another, again, I think there is a huge misconception about me, mainly because of this show and my overall personality. There's no one on this floating rock that wants to love shit more than me. Many a person has come into my life that turned out to be a total shit sipper that I gave all the benefits of the doubt to. This is another example of like, who gives a fuck about D&D? Oh, I'm super excited because of this trailer. I too want a shiny sword. Once again, you get away with so much if you just add this sound effect. Clang! I'm like, oh, let's fucking do a fireball! Fireball!
I gotta ask you though, because you are, once again, you are a consumer of.
Yes.
You're like an art consumer. You're like, oh, you made a thing? Let me see, let me watch it, let me listen, let me rub it all over myself. So with Stranger Things putting such a spotlight on Dungeons and Dragons, and not just in those opening few moments of those early episodes, but like throughout, like Vecna and fucking whatchamacallit, the Mind Flayer, and like these are completely carted over. Even the concept of fucking DMs and stuff like that didn't. It's not a judgment question. I mean, truly want to know. Like, did that light your fires to be?
Yes.
What am I missing in this Dungeons and Dragons nerditude? Because those are clearly my people. I mean, one of our good friends, Jordan, like invented a fucking project. I can speak.
Product for 1,000.
A product. God damn. He invented a product to assist DMs. Which the name of it escapes me, but we will give it a proper plug next time around. I promise.
Yeah, you'll drop the link.
But yeah, so was this the highest on your like make me love this? I'm ready.
Yes, because I have desperately tried to find a consistent D&D game after Stranger Things started. Stranger Things, I think Stranger Things came out when, I don't remember. I don't care. Why the fuck did I go down that road is the real question. I played a Ghostbuster Dungeon and Dragon game for like 7 months, and I was excellent at it. The concept I dig so much. I would love to play a sword and sorcery consistent Dungeons and Dragons game. Problem is I just don't have access to those people. Sans Jordan, who like, frankly, they would be so high level, I'd be like intimidated.
So Craig, who's an officer for USComics,
yes,
is involved in a weekly game.
I would absolutely, again, now that the problem was the pandemic era.
There it is.
It was
See, what had happened was I forgot my wallet and blah, blah, blah. But anyway, your excuses, I'll let you save your excuses for Craig. But yeah, I mean, there's all these projects. Medieval's dropping, which looks awesome. It's like one of the very few fantasy projects that's like doesn't take place in England or Wales. That's not Arthur related, and we've gotten a ton of good ones. We've gotten a bunch of mediocre ones in recent years, though. But like all Age of Rage, Mountains of Madness, Defenders of the Light, Empires of the Deep, Gilgamesh, the Hunchback. I mean, there are all Jason and the Argonauts. I mean, there's a ton of dope high fantasy, and like I've been pining away for Conan the King to be hitting for now nigh on decades at this point. But look, there's just so much goody out there. But I mean, look, if we're gonna catch all of these amazing fucking products and projects and content they're putting out there, we're gonna need money, Charlie. And if we're gonna have that money burning a hole in our pocket, we're gonna need a little help paying the bills. So let's tell the good folks how we go about paying the bills up in here.
Well, I have to always start it with a preface.
Do it.
Because we, my fine people, my fine consumers of US Comics, we're not like other pods who just sell out for any random brand that's willing to throw a couple herbs and spices our way. So today, we are brought to you by one of our favorite bands, none other than Bad Mary. You heard him during the intro. You're going to hear him again at the end of the show. Wondering where else you can catch their act? You can follow them over at Bad Mary Band across all social media platforms. They just dropped a brand new LP we're going to be teasing at the end of the show, and you can stay up to date with them over at badmary.com for merch, upcoming performances, and additional drops. My favorite part, though, John, is their entire discography, including that new LP, available right now anywhere you can find streaming music. That, my friends, is a sponsor worth having.
Me too, my brother. Me fucking too. And then sometimes you do have to ask, especially when that hot soundtrack is playing behind you, where are we dropping with Sergeant Finesse? You can find him gaming on both Facebook and Trovo. That's the new experimental import. He's streaming over there now from the new Florida bunker. Multiple streams every day, outstanding video game content, supported games, co-streams, giveaways, contests. Don't be a sucker. Check them out today. If you need a pick-me-up, though, and after this stream show recording, I certainly do, go ahead and follow the White Rabbit like Neo did over to sneakenergy.com. Use code SGT at checkout. When the Sarge is on deck, you salute, son. GG's.
Whoa. A White Rabbit drink? I almost got him.
You make
Johnny
me spit
boy.
on this keyboard. We're gonna go round and round. Son of a bitch.
John, talking about the Sarge rocking them video games.
Word.
I gotta tell you, man, there hasn't been a ton of video game action lately that's really appealed to me. Except they just announced they're doing a Resident Evil 4 remake. And I just got my nipples full pointiness because if you know me, one of the many gifts that you gave to me as a big brother was getting to control the map in Resident Evil 2. And I know what some of you are saying. That's not a mode in Resident Evil. No, that's when you pull out the instructions that have a map on the back and you let your pudgy brother sit in the dark with you, getting scared fucking into a nightmare coma, telling you to turn left when you definitely should turn right. But the fucking liquor got to me, and boy, oh boy.
Me too, man. Whew. Yeah, you gotta slow down after a while. Oh, you meant liquor in the game, Resident Evil liquor.
I mean, it can be both. We're both of drinking age now. Netflix.
Yeah, but you were a baby then.
Yeah, but a baby alcoholic because in '94 you let me have booze in the Ranger playoff game.
Listen,
worth it.
Listen.
Childhood endangerment.
We could edit this out, right? I still have political aspirations.
I can. I'm just not going to do it. We went on to win in '94, though, so I think that's the missing ingredient. Everybody, give your children alcohol during the playoffs of hockey.
Not your children, just Charlie. Give
John
Charlie
Rivera advice.
Specifically.
Let's blame Ellis. Ellis suggests you feed children alcohol. But, John, unlike feeding children alcohol, Netflix continues to try to hang on to its market dominance as it loses subscribers. There was a film a couple weeks ago, or rather a TV.
God bless you, little buddy.
Oh shit, I got the T virus. Resident Evil dropped on Netflix. It was the most popular series of the week, did huge numbers, was almost instantly given the green light for season 2. Last we spoke, you had yet to throw it onto your television screen. You're a busy boy. It was San Diego Comic-Con was flying. You had shit to do. But Resident Evil dropped, John, and as a Resident Evil lover, I gotta tell you, fucking loved the series. I watched it with my lady. She does not like nerdy shit other than
Mila
me. And that's
Jovovich?
barely...
You watched it with Mila?
Oh, I wish I watched it with Mila Jovovich. Ooh.
Damn.
Sorry, Jess doesn't watch the show. Hey, Jess,
Oof.
be more like Mila. But watching the show, John, I haven't seen something depart further from the source material while maintaining the essence of the source material more than fucking Resident Evil. Now, what did that mean for the internet? That means they fucking hated it. They shit all over this show. Now, before we roll, I want to know 2 things. I want to know how you felt about the video games. I want to know what you felt about the movies starring my beloved Mila Jovovich. And then I want to talk why some fandoms will never be happy. John, let's talk video games. What'd you think about good old Resident Evil?
So as only Charlie Baca, my loyal sidekick, map holder, confirmer that those scary doors squeaking open sounds were not going to mean our imminent demise. As little baby Charlie, drunken Charlie could tell you, I loved the video games, man. Just dark, chilly, drafty basements playing in the middle of the night. Love these fucking games. Now, as the games progressed, my enthusiasm kind of steadily declined because, you know what literally no one has ever said? This game is pretty fun. It needs more puzzles. No, it does not need more puzzles. It needs more ammunition and more zombies that you can blow their faces off. And then when they delved into giant crocodiles and fucking liquor monsters and crawlers and, you know, sideshow freaks, they started to lose me a little bit. Now, you would think that leaping away from such crazy subject matter would mean like, oh, well, this will get them back on track. A more streamlined, straightforward zombie experience. Wrong! You're wrong. I hope that shit popped hard on YouTube because that's how I meant it. It was crazy, and I'm talking about the aforementioned Fifth Element herself. No amount of multi-passes was going to get her better boom back on track. Those fucking movies were bonkers.
But no puzzles. In their defense,
granted, no puzzles.
Puzzle free.
The
only puzzle was how the fuck did they make like 8 of them?
And she kept on getting checks. My question
she kept
to you
getting
is
green checks, baby. I don't know what that means. I mean it sexually.
Nothing. Just means nothing. But what was that movie where she was like it was like a futury type world, and she had like laser swords, and she was running through cats shooting.
Ultraviolet.
If they had removed the banner off of Ultraviolet, and they'd be like, Resident Evil 9, nobody, and I'm talking about up to and including Mila, would have fucking known that it wasn't a Resident Evil movie. That's how crazy the Resident Evil movies get. Now, to get back to your greater point about toxic ass fandoms, unless you're collecting a fucking pension from Raccoon City PD, you have yet to see any adaptation that was quote unquote faithful to any of the shit that you played with your little fucking sticks.
Yeah.
So, and as a person who is like no skin in the game, so to speak, certainly no fucking giant deep dive quotations for my name. Um, on one hand, you have people like, meh, this is not like the movies. Meh, shake your fist angrily at the sky. And then you had people like, meh, this is not like the video games. Meh. But nothing has been thus far.
Yes.
And the fact that this is not like the movies, which in their own turn were not like the video games, what universe did you wake up and throw on Netflix for the day and think, this is it? This is the day it's all gonna come together. I know it. When, Lord? When is it gonna be my time? Not today, son. Not today.
I'm always alarmed by people who think and I don't know why. This has to be like the fucking last millimeter of my youth talking. I for some reason expect people to think before they blurt out bullshit, because you can love.
Have you
Resident
ever
Evil.
listened to this podcast?
Fair enough. But there are people who love Resident Evil. I'm not taking away. If you're sitting there and you're like, I fucking love Resident Evil, the problem with that statement is
movies or show or
movies,
game.
show, game, or what era of games? Because the first game, a creepy Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, and Code Veronica are like the camera's fixed. There's lots of puzzles. You got 7 bullets. There's a fucking magic typewriter and a box that carries all your shit.
Some more than others, though. Like that's a false equivalency. They were very up and down. Like
Sure, but by Resident Evil 4, you have a third person over the shoulder. You're like kicking zombies in the fucking head. They're not zombies. They got weird tentacle fucking neck monsters. The 5th one, they're literally just, it's fucking Rambo v Resident Evil. Motherfucker punches a boulder. The next one is literally every game ever. The best Resident Evil game, in my opinion, is Resident Evil 6, which is like sacrilege because some people hate aspects. But the first part of that game is Leon in a Resident Evil type game. The next part is Chris Redfield punching boulders and cashing checks and kissing chicks. And the third part is like a weird fucking hybrid panda of it. The bitch is like 8 hours long. You wind up exhausted and your ball bag is empty even if you're a lady by the end of it. The movies are these like adrenaline-fueled music videos that don't make a fucking lick of sense. So what the fucking TV show did was it sought to do like a multiverse experiment. John, there's an episode of this show that's dedicated to like a puzzle. It's the tits. There are sound effects that are ripped straight from Resident Evil 2. There is a crazy worm monster that would drive you insane in episode 1. The fucking shit's awesome for what it is. Resident Evil.
For a fan, you have been there.
No, I think for anyone.
I disagree. I disagree. Because I almost committed to memory 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, again, like I mentioned before, my enthusiasm, my attention, my recollection dropped off. By the time I had to play like full-on Tetris games to get to the next fucking room, I was like, check please, no thank you. Here, Charlie, I warmed up the controllers already. No, so I do respectfully disagree with you in that, like, there are, and I'm only 2 deep into the series, so I realize that there's plenty more, and I will finish it out of just respect for your fandom.
So far, are you sitting like arms crossed, like what the fuck is this?
Yeah, no. I'm close to like taking out the old number 2 Ticonderoga and be like, she's like, oh, let me jot down this note. This will be important later, and I'm petrified. They're like, nope. No, it is not gonna be, because we're gonna go on to this next thing, which is Waterworld. It's like when fucking Mario went down the wrong pipe and everything was inverted and fucking fireballs
Impossible to do.
No, fireballs is Dungeons and Dragons. I get mixed up too. No, it's just like it's so all over the place, and it begs of like a servant, a Renfield, Charlie, if you will. Like trying to serve 2 masters.
Yeah.
And you every stitch of writing says you cannot serve fucking 2 masters. You gotta pick a lane. You gotta stick to it. Now, if somebody came to me and said, "Oh, we're gonna do Resident Evil," and we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take this motherfucker down the American Horror Story route. And every season is going to have a little bit of a different flavor to it. So yeah, granted, season 1 is going to very much be that one for one, almost like adrenaline fueled. Everything happens over 3 days, unlike, say, Walking Dead, which takes place over 3 fucking years. They'll say this is going to be high octane, straightforward, boom, 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 zombie, killing, action, great. And then the last fucking couple of moments, our boy, he stumbles through the woods and he's like, oh, great, this is right behind me. Now I can answer some questions. Now there's going to be a little safe. You see a giant fucking mansion in front of you. Oh, shit. Season 1 wraps. Cut to credits. Season 2. Oh, you know what you have to look forward to in season 2.
All right.
Could happen.
See, this is bullshit. This is fucking bullshit because you're not allowed to make better versions of things I like because now I like the fucking show less. No, because you and again with time fucking expiring, the thing about the show that I love is the way I would describe it to someone is it's Walking Dead with a sense of urgency. Like shit actually fucking happens. And the problem with that is if you want to adapt Resident Evil the video game, you almost have to choose an era and start there because the actual story of Resident Evil from the real beginning, like from the story beginning, not from the first game, or not from Resident Evil 0, which is in place of the first game. The actual story is... Oh my God, how'd they not use that song at some point? Spoiler, they don't use that song. If you were to say, I'm going to adapt Resident Evil 0, 1, 2, and 3, you have 4 seasons of an amazing show. Sure. But the minute you get into Resident Evil 4 territory, that story becomes so fucking obtuse. Yeah, and when the mysteries get revealed, dude, every mystery in Resident Evil is like, so there was a dragon prince, and also as well as vampire lady, and also as well as wolf boy. Also, the T virus, it's really the B virus because it came from a slug's butt. That slug, Jesus Christ. It's like, what the fuck is happening? And I love it. They just
threw a bunch of concepts into a hat and they're like, all right. And the liquor comes from Mars. All right, cool. Yeah, no, we haven't done that yet.
Bro, nice. Resident Evil is absolutely the most glorious Japanese grab bag, and that's why I love the games, because Resident Evil 9 might be fucking in space. It's like Leon had a twin. His name, also Leon, but he's black,
Diesel is there
a midget,
for some reason,
and a Martian.
Freddy Krueger.
Fuck yes, and honestly, with the video game, I, as opposed to you, who is like, fuck this shit, I would be like, yay! But as far as the show goes, it's okay to be middle of the road, good enough. So if you're looking to kill about 7 hours, it's fucking wonderful. Some shit explodes. It fucking rules. The main chick, you will spend half the time yelling at her. My fucking girl doesn't show emotions. Pretty sure she's a T-virus infused robot. She yelled at this bitch at one point because she did a famous bad zombie decision and just like put down her drink. And she was like, listen here, bitch, you're in a world of zombies. You got responsibilities. If one goes missing, you get off your ass and you find that zombie. It was fucking awesome.
I gotta tell you, if the zombie apocalypse comes to fruition, Charlie, you know I love you. Mom, you're all right. I'm finding Jess, because Jess is going to have snacks. She's going to have someplace safe to chill. She's going to know how to fucking travel like a boss. I am finding your girl, Jess. And we're getting through that shit, man.
And she'd have like vegetarian options for you.
Oh, yeah,
She's like, this one's not... She's ready. It would be like that scene where they first reveal Michonne in both the comic and the show, except she'd have a giant backpack just filled with like Twizzlers and goldfish, and the dogs would be on heavy chains, but like she'd be pulling them on carts.
Don't bite the zombies' arms. We need them for later.
Exactly. But no, man, fucking, I'm sick of everything having to... This sounds douchey, but I'm sick of everything needing to either be a fucking masterpiece of trash. There's plenty of shit that's like on a scale of 1 to 10, there's a lot of 7s that need loving too. I'm fucking excited for Resident Evil Season 2. With that being said, maybe they hire you as the new showrunner and you do the thing you described where at the end of Season 2, the fucking Spencer Mansion, and I jack off into my jeans.
We have found one thing out, if nothing else, is that there is no project or adaptation out there that is so recent that it's not ready for a Rivera brother reboot.
Fact.
That's the god fucking damn truth. But look, so we are indeed on borrowed time. Charlie is off playing with his real friends, so we did have to record. So I think we should wrap it there. But look, there's a ton of good out there in the world, and yeah, like Charlie is saying, look, you might love something, you might like something, you might tolerate something, you might look at a project and think it's total trash doo-doo caca. But this is America, so you are not under any obligation to either watch it or ingest it, but certainly under no obligation to talk about it, because that's our fucking job. So Charlie, why don't you do everybody a big fucking favor and tell the good people how we close each and every episode of the greatest nonsensical fucking podcast known to man.
First, you gotta turn the power. I wasn't sure if you were done. First, you gotta turn the power on. Then you gotta turn that volume up. Then you gotta tune Bad Mary in. Open up the window wide and scream out into the night sky. Say, Miss Space Girl, we out.